What is up, guys? On today's episode of Project AP1 S2000, we're going to be tackling a little bit of AERO mods on it, and starting with what we have left over here. So I want to get rid of this hood because this hood doesn't quite clear my intake system that I have on here with the snorkel, and you can see I put this nice little dent here trying to force the hood closed. If I bring the latch up on it, I get a big gap in the front, so it just doesn't quite work with that intake system. So the mods that are going on the car today is going to be a new hood with a proper bulge to clear that intake, new front bumper, getting rid of the stock AP1 front bumper, and the headlights are going to go in favor for a set of AP2 style, which these are supposed to be a direct bolt-in for AP1s. I bought them off of eBay, and they clear the AP1 projectors. These actually look pretty damn good for a $225 headlight package. I was gonna just buy regular AP2 headlights, but then I think there's a clearance issue with the ballast for the HIDs. So I saw this option come up, and for the price point, I was like, I'm gonna give them a try just to see. They look really nice at first glance, so I'm curious to see how they mount and go in. Here's the hood. It's I believe this was a Mugen style, or Mugen, however you want to pronounce it. This was carbon. I picked this up used off of Craigslist. It was pretty scratched up. It looked like somebody took a X-Acto knife to it and like just carved scratches in it everywhere. But I've sanded it a bunch of times now. It's starting to kind of look like matte dry carbon. This is after the first session of wet sanding. I'm gonna hit it a couple more times, but I ultimately decided I'm not gonna run this hood. I'm gonna actually end up selling this after I clean it up more. So if anybody's interested in it, let me know. I'd be happy to work something out with you. And I ended up going with a Seban, brand new Seban gloss. And the reason why I went this route is because I think I may leave the carbon hardtop on the car exposed, and I want to have carbon complementing. So I'm gonna at least have the carbon top. I may paint it, but leave the carbon blades exposed. For the hood, I'm gonna throw it on as is for now. Here's that lovely bulge to clear the intake. But I think I'm gonna ultimately end up painting this, and I'm gonna leave the vents exposed carbon, and that's why I'm not gonna run that hood. It's because the exposed carbon on that is probably not gonna look as glossy and as juicy as this one. So having this brand new and fresh and gel coated and everything is going to be my best bet. So that's why I ended up just splurging and getting a new hood. So that's what's going to go on the car today. And then for the bumper choice, so as some of you know, when I had the red AP2, it had an authentic Amuse R1 front bumper on it. Now I sold that car to my friend, and the original deal was I was supposed to take the bumper before handing him over the car, and at the last minute he decided he wanted it and said he would buy me another bumper, so I let him. He didn't want to buy me an authentic Amuse, and I was kind of okay with it, so we ended up going with a Viz, and here's the reason why I'm okay with it not going with an authentic. I know I'm going to get shit for this, but the authentic Amuse on the tabs here, we're getting stress cracks because there's a fiberglass tab, and I'll show you on the backside here. You can see that notch right there. So that bumper was cracking on both sides because it wasn't strong enough there. Now this is from Shine Auto, and Shine Auto uses their hybrid FRP, which is definitely much more rugged. So for a car that I'm gonna do track days and stuff with, I'm kind of okay with having this because it's gonna get beat up with rocks and rubber flying off of other cars and whatnot. So I'm okay with that approach. Plus Shine does some cool things like reinforce stress areas like this with carbon over the hybrid FRP, so it should be pretty rugged, pretty durable. I'm going to do a test fit of it today, and then make arrangements to have it body matched. So let's start slapping on some of these ricer parts. So we just finished putting the hood on, and I ran into a little problem, and I'll show you. So the whole reason behind these hoods is to clear this intake system. And part of being able to clear these intake systems is this obnoxious bulge, which I don't think this is a cute little styling cue. I think it's there to serve a purpose. What you're looking at right now is as far as this hood will close. Now, this is a C-Bond hood, and further inspection, they didn't clearance this section right here. They leave it up to you. If you want to clear the intake, you have to cut this out. And I think that's really like kind of bull crap. The other hood that I have, which we'll walk over here, the Viz, is perfectly clearanced for this. You know, again, going back to this is the whole reason why you buy this hood with these vents and the bulges, so you can run this intake system. It's a common type of air duct for the S2000. They sell a version of this hood that forgoes this bump. So why in the hell you would not clearance that is kind of beyond me. So I have two options. I can go ahead and cut this hood and then have a big gaping asshole here for the life of the hood, and I can clear the intake snorkel. Or I can remove the intake snorkel and then kind of use this as motivation to get my ass in gear and just get the ITBs for the car, which is ultimately what's gonna happen to this motor anyways, which would render that big giant asshole that was cut into the hood useless. So I think I don't really want to cut a big giant asshole into the hood to only have it be functional temporarily. So I'm gonna just pull the snorkel out and run it open filter. Make more noise, it'll probably sound kind of cool, sound extra ricer. But that's what I'm gonna do. All right, guys, so the bumper is installed, the hood is installed, my AP2 headlights are installed. I had to do a little bit more fitting of the bumper than I had wanted to. As you saw, I had to take a file and cut these tabs down in here so they can mate to the factory catch in here for the upper bumper tabs. I also had to play with the position of the headlights so that they, to bring them out to kind of close the gap up right here. Overall, I think the fitment of the bumper is pretty good. I've seen much worse. I'm not a body guy by any means, so it was kind of clear to me where I had to kind of massage it a little bit to make it work. But overall, I think that the gaps are pretty tight. They're pretty close. I'm gonna drop this off at the body shop and let them do their thing, and have them like just kind of do the final massaging to snug it up and make it look nice. But I think it's definitely workable. I've seen some bumpers on cars where like I don't know how you would make it work otherwise without putting a crap load of fiberglass and Bondo on it. So the engine bay looks a little bit more naked now without the funnel. I'm kind of curious to see how this is going to sound. It's probably going to get a lot louder. Might sound good. But I think if anything, this just kind of motivates me and makes me want to go with ITBs like even more. I ended up taking out the plastic covers for the vents too for the hood, just to allow a little bit more breathing. So overall, I think this was not too bad. This is kind of like the first car that I'm really actually doing AERO mods on. And so far I think it's so good. Definitely not a body guy, but it wasn't too painful. I think anybody else can kind of reproduce this and just kind of massage it a little bit and play with everything to get it just right. So I'm not looking forward to see how much it's going to cost to paint everything. But let's talk about that. So I don't know what I'm going to do. So this car's got 126,000 miles on the chassis. It was my daily driver for a long time. For those of you who are more recent tuning in, it's a very clean car. There's no rust or anything like that. But the paint, I took care of it as best I could for a daily driver. I think it shines up pretty good. I always kept it waxed and clay barred it once a year and just kind of did my due diligence. But there's a couple little flaws in the paint here and there. And I got a couple little dimples, like just little dingers. One right here, which was like so frustrating because I was door dinged in a parking lot that there was no other options but to park with the general public. So I was pretty upset about that. That one day that I had to park in with everybody, I got door dinged. But what I'm thinking about doing for the paint is I'm gonna see what it's gonna cost to just kind of respray the whole car and just redo the Silverstone. Have a nice paint job done. But if that's too expensive, then I'll probably just end up painting the bumper for now and then waiting until I'm really ready to commit to a proper paint job. But I think I want to paint the top and just leave the blades here exposed carbon. Now this is a double-sided carbon hardtop, so just bear in mind that when you're sitting in the car, you will always be able to see the nice carbon weave. I know it's kind of like one of those things that's like, do I paint it or do I just leave it exposed carbon? I like both looks, but I feel like from a distance it just looks like it's like primered, if that makes any sense. I know when you come up close to like you can kind of see the carbon and stuff. I kind of like the black windshield pillar. I think that it kind of breaks up the car a little bit in a nice manner. So I think I would probably keep those black and not body match. I see when people body match them, the car really does kind of become more like roadster looking. And I think that was a slick design cue. I kind of like how it just like eats up the car right there. So, or like, I shouldn't say eats it up, but like it just hides that line of the car from a distance. So I would probably just spray the pillars black. And then for the hood, and the whole reason why I bought the hood, there we go, is because I was gonna paint the hood, but I think I wanna leave the vents, just from the triangle bulge here down on each side exposed carbon. So you'll still be able to see kind of the pretty weave that each of the carbon pieces has to offer, but I think they'll make the car look a little bit more complete and like less ricer. So let me know what you guys think. What would you do if this was your car? How would you paint it? Obviously, bumpers got to get body matched. Can't leave it like that because that looks like crap. But would you leave the hood and the hardtop exposed carbon? Would you paint them like I said and leave some exposed carbon? Or would you just color match everything and have it all blend together? Or would you do something entirely different? So let me know your thoughts in the comments, and we're gonna wrap this one up here for this one, but thank you guys very much for tuning in. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll do my best to answer you. And as always, thank you very much for watching. So, till next time, for Project AP1 S2000, done.